museum. And Kraft is finishing up his YMCA board meeting. So.
Well, I see that we got a break.
That's what Susan just said, is that, so.
I been here. Showed up. And
We're
I
ready
talked
when
to
you
her
are.
She got here.
Yep. All right, well, if you're ready, Bill, we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right, let me do a couple of things here.
Do you need help?
If you'll join me, please, in prayer. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for today. And Lord, we just ask, we just think about some of our council members that aren't here today. God, we just specifically lift up Rick to you and just ask that your blessings would be on him and your protections on him and the rest who are traveling, and just protect them, we pray. And God, we just ask that as we sit down here today to do the work people, that you would give us your wisdom and your guidance. In Jesus' name, amen.
Of the August 8th regular council meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes?
You can do them both together if you want.
Separately.
Okay.
Have a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Dembski.
Amy and Amy.
Yep. It's going to be an Amy show today.
All right. Yeah, it will be at this rate. Okay. Any further discussion, comment from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the minutes as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is carried. And next you have the minutes from the budget meetings last month. Additions or corrections there? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Amy Prosser, second by Amy Dembski. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is carried. All right. And we have no additionals. I want everybody to keep that in mind today, that we have no additionals.
According
Comments on that when we get to the budget.
wait a minute. According to my two of my liaisons, says that Susan refused to let them put additions on.
Is that true?
That's
Well,
right.
That's one way to get it accomplished.
Now, why did I refuse that?
Well, I know, but
But the public doesn't know that.
I'm not explaining why you did it.
I refused it because I told them they had to transfer because they had money available. That's why I refused to do it.
The way it should be. All right. Going from there, we move on to the transfers. And our first transfer comes to us from the surveyor's office. And these first three are all in county general. First one is from the surveyor. And it's from the general fund. The amount to be transferred is $100. It is being transferred from operating supplies to computer equipment. This request is to cover the purchase of a new computer to replace the old one that cannot be upgraded to Windows 11. Will additional appropriation be requested due to this transfer? The answer is no. We're all looking at you.
Well, I was making a comment, we had discussed this, but after she put it in, I was called into their office to explain what they're doing, so it has been discussed with me.
Public.
Aye.
Coroner transportation. Why is a transfer needed? It is to cover the cost of body transport fees as we have nearly depleted the 2023 budget amount of $4,500. We have an extensive supply of body pouches, bags in storage. Will additional appropriation be requested due to this transfer? The answer is no. Was this discussed with the council liaison? The answer is yes. That council person is Rick Collins. And I have a motion to approve this transfer of $3,000. Been moved by Councilwoman Prosser. Second by Councilwoman Dembski. Discussion?
What is transfer fees, or whatever?
The coroner transport fees,
Yeah.
I
Is
believe,
that from where the death is to the
yeah.
If the,
funeral home?
if the funeral home is,
Yeah.
is transporting them, there of course is no fee.
Yeah.
But there is also, most if not 100% of the autopsies are now done in Fort Wayne. And the body has to be taken down to the forensic lab.
Now, where is it? Where in Fort Wayne is it?
Well, the old one was in the old St. Joe Hospital, and I believe that when Lutheran rebuilt the hospital down there, they made a provision for the forensic lab there, I believe.
Okay.
I don't have a direct contact with that anymore, so. But that was always a question, because most hospitals have done away with their morgues. They just don't need them anymore, so. And actually, 10 years ago, we used to actually transport them up to South Bend.
Yeah, I
So-
knew that, yeah.
All right, any further discussion? Comment from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor of this transfer signify by saying aye. Opposed, same, that motion is carried. And the next one comes to us from elections in the amount of $3,000. And the money is being transferred from software maintenance to forms, paper supplies. Why is the transfer needed? Design, print, and mail postcards to City of Auburn and Garrett voters to inform them of municipal election on November the 7th, 2023, and where they can vote on Election Day, as well as early voting dates and times. Will additional appropriation be requested due to this transfer? The answer is no. Was this discussed with the department liaison? That answer is yes. That was Councilwoman Dembski. And I have a motion to approve this transfer of $3,000. Been moved by Councilwoman Dembski. And a second by Councilwoman Prosser. Further discussion? And I believe.
You guys kill me.
I might be incorrect, but I believe that since this is a municipal election, that after the election, the cost of the election will be sent to both Garrett and Auburn.
It will.
So they will be reimbursing county general fund for that dollar amount for the municipal elections. All right.
You just need the vote.
Oh, excuse me. All those,
Yeah.
no discussion, no comment from the public. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is carried.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have, this is from the Supplemental Public Defender Fund in the amount of $1,700. And it is being transferred from furniture and fixtures to building repair and maintenance, again, for $1,700. To put the money into the account 33680 to pay for painting of the office. The painting of the office was approved by the Commissioners on August 7th, 2023 meeting. Will additional appropriation be requested due to this transfer? The answer is no. Was this discussed with the department liaison? The answer is no, and the liaison's name is Councilman Yard. And I have a motion to approve this transfer of $1,700.
I'll make that motion.
Been
Break up
moved
the
by
nominee.
Councilman Van Wy. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Prosser. Discussion?
Why does it come out of the public defender? Doesn't the commissioners charge them to maintain
Well,
buildings?
we want to make sure that it's in the public defender's expenses, because we will get 40% back from the state as part of the expenses for the public defender's office. So that's why it's in there. So we will get some of that reimbursed to us. Well, I think we made we were talking about making additionals, making sure that they were discussed with the department liaison. This probably should be the same, I would imagine. We want to be consistent. But I don't know, without Dave being here, this could be the same as with Bill. After the commissioners approved it, they could have discussed it with Dave, and we don't know that. So,
Yeah, well, I've talked to Mark, and he said that I think he said he talked with Dave, but he discussed it with me that they needed a new coat of paint in there.
okay. And I don't know if this, honestly, I don't know if this has to do with just the fact that the room needed to be painted, or the fact that they were dealing with bats over there.
That's the reason.
Yeah.
That's
they
the
were-
reason. Yeah.
They had a bat infestation over there, and they were dealing with for several months. So it's something that had to be done. All right. Any further discussion? Comment from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same. That motion is carried. All right. Next. This additional comes from the Change Academy School Fund in the amount of $700. I'm going to assume we can take both of these. There are two individual ones, one for $200, one for $500. We can take these at the same time. Yes, okay. This is the fund name is the Juvenile School Fund, and we are taking $200 from computer equipment to travel, training, and education, and we are taking $500 from computer equipment to testing services. We would like the Change Academy staff to attend the 34th Annual Conference on Youth. The cost is $50 per person, total of $200. It is a day training in Fort Wayne. We also were counting on getting drug-free grant money to pay for Change Academy drug screenings. So we will need money into account 33900 to cover the monthly expense of that. Last year, the average monthly bill was $246.56. We got to do something about the font size on some of these things. Yeah, will an additional appropriation be requested due to this transfer? The answer is no. And was this discussed with the department liaison? The answer is no, and this is with Amy Dembski. I have a motion to approve this transfer. Again, I will say it, the same point that just made with the other, Michelle, and everybody just needs to remember to at least contact your liaison and let them know what you're doing. Yeah. Well, there are, and there are time limits. There is a time limit as to what, the deadline for getting these things into Susan, so. Can I have a motion? Did I get a motion? Okay, I need a motion. Motion by Councilwoman Dembski, second by Councilwoman Prosser. Discussion? Comment from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same. Motion's carried. All right. Now, all right. Now, same issue as before. We have a number of transfers here. This is in the Community Corrections State Grant. There are a number of transfers coming from the different accounts, different line items, but all labeled as residential service officer. Is that correct? Is that what the abbreviation is?
Correct.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8. I got that count right?
Yes.
Okay, there are 8. And what's the total dollar on it?
Do you want me to read the to and from?
No, I'm
can
going to
add
go
it real
through.
quick.
I'm going to jump through these. This is from the state grant. Again, they're all coming from residential service officer line items. Food supplies, $4,000. Moving money that will not be spent from 100 series to accounts where we need more money to get through 2023. The total amount on these transfers is $36,603.34. No additional will be requested. These were not discussed with the department liaison. Were they? Okay. And the next one is utilities in the amount of $8,834.54, and another additional of $11,165.46. 2 different residential service officer lines, 2 utilities for those. Next, 2 other service fees in the amount of $2,000. And cleaning supplies of $1,000. And 3 transfers to equipment rental of $365.09, $1,725, and $7,513.25. Okay. So, yep, that's it. So, and these are all in, Amy, or Michelle, I'm going to ask you to come up here and just to answer the one question. I think I know what this is, but I want to make sure I'm correct. This is salary monies that are not going to be expended. Is that a position that's not going to be filled, or positions that are not going to be filled, or what's it?
It's a combination of a couple things. So one is a position that's not going to be filled. It's the position that I talked about that we eliminated due to knowing the funding for 2024 was going to be less. Some of it is positions that were open for a number of months, and so we kind of projected out to the end of the year and looked at what money we didn't think we would need for that position. I attended a meeting a couple weeks ago in Indianapolis where they explained that the amount of grant funding you're going to receive from DOC for programs like ours is going to be dependent upon what you have spent in your grant in past years. So they said they looked at the last couple of years, but also went back and looked at pre-COVID years, just to be fair to everyone, because COVID messed a lot of things up for a lot of different counties. And that's what they made the decisions on for 2024. So when I came back, I got with Miss Tally, who does a lot of our financials, and we talked about, let's go ahead and project out what we think we're going to spend in a lot of these areas. And if we have money we believe we can move, let's move it to areas we know we will spend it. Food for residential, utilities, our drug screening always, our equipment leasing, the GPS anklets, so that we can try to spend every single dollar of the grant that we can possibly spend before we use anything out of our project income, and also do what the state is telling us to do by spending as much grant money as we can. So that's what all this big chunk of transfers is, us making sure we're spending all that grant money.
Question, if we do not spend all the grant money, does the balance have to be returned to the state?
No, they changed that a couple years ago. I can't remember how many. I don't know if you remember,
Three,
Susan.
maybe.
3 years ago. So what happens with the extra money is it remains in our account, but when they give us the grant for whichever year that account matches up to, they just don't send us as much because they subtract that first before
Okay.
they decide what our monthly allowance is. So what we're trying to do is make sure that we're showing them we need that money. We spend every single dollar that we can, and then hopefully that keeps our granted amount every subsequent year as high as we can keep it. So that's what we're trying to do with these transfers.
All right.
And one more clarification for council, the amount remaining, say for 2023, doesn't affect the 2024. It skips a year because every other year we have to change fund numbers every year. So like whatever's remaining for 23, we just get that much less in 25. It doesn't go to the immediate next year.
Are you still having, I see you put utilities, are you still, I know we're in this program, what, 3 or 4 years, trying to get adjusted to what you're spending out there?
Yeah, I mean, it varies a lot depending on how many people we have living in residential, how many showers being taken, how much laundry is being done, how much food has to be prepared, how many dishes are being done. So I think that's always kind of going to be something that's going to go up and down a little bit. But, you know, we are interested in looking for other solutions. Is it possible to, you know, get some solar panels for electricity instead of continuing to pay the electricity fully every month? Different things like that are things we're going to be interested in the near future if possible.
You know, that solar panel issue is something that I know a number of schools have put in solar fields just for their buildings and have saved a considerable amount. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it would be advantageous for us to look at it for just community corrections, but if we truly do build the jail out there, having something that would supply electricity to both your building and the new jail would be to our advantage.
I would appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Any questions? Further discussion? Did I get a motion, by the way? Okay, I need a motion to approve that. Been moved by Councilwoman Dembski. Second by Councilwoman Prosser. Discussion?
I must have hit it. For increases for some of those people that we can't give as much to because our grant is being restricted. So I think they're doing a great job as far as how they're spending that money out there and making sure that we're getting the most out of every single dollar.
And I don't want to get into the, you know, commercial solar and all that.
Right.
That's a whole different matter. But I think that if we can take a look at a number of school corporations have put in solar fields to supply electricity to their building and have had a great savings. I think Fremont is the one I keep hearing about. I know that Hamilton is preparing to put one in for their school. Looking at the experience of what others have had to determine whether or not it's a viable solution. Because we do have excessive utility costs out there, and they're fair. I'm going to tell you they're fair because this is what businesses are paying, and we're not going to get some special treatment just because we're government. And people like to complain about the high rate, but no matter how much you're using, that can't be the total base of what you are paying. Because whether or not you're using the water, using the sewer, using the electricity, the infrastructure has to be there. That's an ongoing fixed cost that has to be paid for. The usage can go up and down, the pipes are still there, the wires are still there, and that is where quite a bit of that cost is what it costs to maintain those functions.
Just to elaborate a little bit on that, there is $500,000 of ARPA funds set aside for a potential solar field and connected to community corrections. That field would be large enough to get them off the demand charge usage, and so their bill would be just usage, and we could generate enough power from that. We had that presentation done in Commissioner's Court a long time ago.
Okay.
So.
Well, we need to look at that again to see if it would give us some.
And that's really the demand charge is really what's killing community corrections in terms of their electric bill every month.
Yeah.
And the Y too.
Ours went up 5,000 a month.
Yeah.
5,000 a month.
Yeah.
Killer.
It's high, but before we move into it, it certainly needs to be looked at as to whether or not it's a viable solution. All right. So I have a motion, I have a second. Any other discussion? Thank you, Michelle. And comment from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, saying that motion is carried. All right, that should be the last one.
Okay.
All right, next.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna probably repeat this a couple of times, but today, as we move towards the work session for the budget, but one of the goals that DLGF had, and one of the goals that we have had as a council over the last couple of years, is to eliminate or greatly reduce the number of additionals that we do at every meeting. And the more additionals you have to do, it just signifies that you're not planning well enough the future. And we have made great strides in reducing the number of additionals. There was a time when I first came on the council where we would have anywhere from 3 to 5 or 6 additionals every meeting. We greatly reduced those, and that just goes to what this council has done as far as planning our budget. And we do, unlike a lot of counties, we budget every single fund that we have. We do not not budget each one of those funds, which if you didn't budget it, it would require an additional every time. So I think this council's made great strides in getting there. And our auditor is making great strides by telling people they can't do an additional if they got money they can transfer. All right,
guys.
the next item of business is a wage and salary ordinance, and this is one that we now, we want to do and do all three readings today. Get this one brought up here. And we will be reading this by title only. All right. This is 2023 Salary and Hourly Wage Ordinance Amendment, DeKalb County Council, ordinance number 2023-OCC-8, amending ordinance number 2023-OCC-1. And I have a motion to approve this ordinance on first reading. And this ordinance was available online when the council agenda was posted. It does reference a salary within the auditor's office and one within the courthouse. And I have a motion to approve this ordinance. And we'll get into the particulars once we get the motions. Been moved by Councilwoman Prosser. Is there a second? Who made this second? Second by Councilman Kraft. Thank you, because Amy and Amy were having to do everything, Bob.
Go ahead. Give me a-
No, that's all right, it's a
All night,
change.
Dave.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Discussion. We can start with, Susan, you might as well just explain both of them because
Okay.
you've been part of both of them.
Okay, so the position in my office is, I no longer have a first deputy at this point, so the position that was previously there was not actually a full description any longer because I have two people that have taken on most of my duties or are learning how to do them. So we had to do a new job description for that position for this year. And then the maintenance officer, there's 3 departments are needing maintenance help. And so the commissioners approved to have a full-time maintenance person that can kind of float from like Sunny Meadows and Central Communications and Community Corrections, and that person will be under Larry in the courthouse. So Larry will now have 2 people under him. And there is money available yet this year in Community Corrections Central to be able to fund, if we can find somebody, to be able to fund somebody through the end of the year, and then that is also in 2024's budget
But
request.
because of Sunny Meadows being included, some of the salary will come from general, correct? It won't all come from,
In 2024, it will come from general, some will come from general, depending when the person is hired and how much we need for the rest of this year. It could possibly be grant funded from Community Corrections and from Central with Public Safety Low and stuff like that. So that's kind of up in the air because we don't know how soon somebody will come on board. And
I think the commissioners are actually looking for somebody that's got some qualifications as either an electrician or maybe a plumber or having skills in those particular areas that we don't currently have in our current staff. And having a dispatcher and a probation officer trying to figure out how to do building maintenance can sometimes be a little difficult. So this will give them some of the support that they need, so.
and it'll keep Michelle off the roof.
Yeah, we don't want Michelle on the
Yeah.
roof.
Does Michelle have the money in her grant to cover that? And that would use up some of her money
Yes.
and everything?
Any other discussion?
And then in the auditor's office, is this an increase to her and the other one? Or is this explain why we have to reclassification?
Because one position in my department had went into our first deputy position.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work out. So to put that person back into the prior position still wasn't accurate because the prior position that was done was her job plus multiple other things that have added from my plate. So if you remember when Jan was auditor and I was first deputy, overloaded first deputy,
I slept since
that
then,
stuff
so-
had to go to somebody, and I'm still trying to get it to other people. So that position, the settlement position, had duties added to it, and that was how the reclassification went.
But if I remember right, overall, it doesn't cost us more
Correct.
And it comes out of the auditor's account? Or does it come out of general?
money. It's in her budget,
General.
but it's in her budget.
It doesn't come out of my pocket.
Oh, I
It
thought,
comes
never
out of the
mind.
general
I'm
fund in
having
my
a-
budget.
I'm a old person memory here.
Yes, general fund.
When we
And
looked-
no money is needed, it's all there.
When we looked at it as a HR committee, it seems to us that it's inefficient.
All right, any other discussion here? Comment from the public? I have my motions, right?
Yep.
All right, all those in favor of the salary and hourly wage ordinance amendment, 2023-OCC-8, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is carried. Now, I need a motion to suspend the rules so that we can read this on second and third reading. And again, once the motion is made and seconded, we'll need a unanimous vote in order to suspend the rules.
Make a motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Kraft. And I have a second by Dembski, Councilwoman Dembski. And discussion?
Shouldn't we leave this go until next meeting and make sure we have a full board?
I don't think so. I think this is something we need to get moving. I mean, even, I don't know that there's any advantage to waiting. Is there a change that needs to be made, or would be, I mean, for the custodian piece, that won't make any difference. Yeah, we could wait till next month for that.
Another
But
piece,
actually, the next meeting is actually at the end of this month, so it wouldn't be a full month, because we meet at the end of September, and then we don't meet again until November.
Do we have any?
so the custodian part, that
we have
part
anything
will
else
be
coming up?
discussed also for 2024 budgets. My part of it, the person's already getting paid the non-first deputy wage, they're getting paid this wage, they just had to reclassify the official job.
So, all right.
description.
Then, with that. Waiting? Waiting, okay. Everybody good with that? All right, then we'll withdraw the request for suspending the motion.
Okay.
We'll wait. Well, let's put it on the agenda for.
Well, I don't care, you can take a vote. I'm not gonna vote against it.
Well, if we're in agreement that we're going to wait, there's no sense in going through the motions there.
Got a motion and a second on the floor. Somebody has to withdraw.
So, Bob, if you'll withdraw your motion.
I withdraw my motion to suspend the rules.
And you withdraw your second? So,
And you have to
All right.
have a vote on to approve his withdrawal.
okay,
You have to have a vote.
all right, so does that require a second to him withdrawing his motion?
If he withdraws his motion, request to withdraw his motion, it requires a unanimous, it requires a vote of the council to approve that.
All right. I will accept, all those in favor of Bob's motion of withdrawing his motion to suspend the rules signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is carried. All right. That part is done. Now, It will be on the agenda for the September 26th meeting,
Yes.
which is when we do the final vote on the budget. And then we won't meet again until November, because that September 26th meeting is actually the October meeting.
Dottie, did we have anything on that from this HR agenda that we met that needs action this year, or was this all that needs to be added to the salary wage ordinance?
It was these two.
Those are the only
These
two.
are the only two that need action
Off
for
of here.
23, yes.
All the rest of them were future.
Discussion
Or
for
budget.
you planning and, yes.
All right, next item on the agenda is acknowledgement of the receipt of the 2023 annual jail inspection report. This is not agreeing or disagreeing. This is just an acknowledgement of accepting the report.
I move that we acknowledge that we accept it.
Been moved by Councilman Kraft. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Prosser. And is there any
kinda slow.
discussion on accepting the jail report? Comment from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion carries. All right, next is the Change Academy MOU with Hamilton Schools. Michelle, you're on again.
So I brought an agreement for Hamilton School District to join the Change Academy. They hadn't in the past ever made the decision. They'd been offered, I think, multiple times to be part of the program, but had chosen for whatever reason not to, didn't feel they needed it. At the end of the school year last year, the superintendent contacted us asking some questions about how the program worked and if he'd be able to join. And then after talking with him a little bit, we didn't hear from him over the summer. And then at the beginning or mid-August, he contacted again and said he was interested again. So I think, took the summer off and had a nice time probably. And then came back for business. So we met with him again, answered questions, provided him with documentation. He took it to the school board and they decided that that is something that they want to do. They're requesting 2 seats because change is done by seats allocated to each school district. Talked with Jack at IT. They had redone some networks and video cameras and some other stuff for us over the summer, which was really nice, much more efficient working out there than it used to be. And he, in those discussions, did not see a problem with us being able to add 2 seats when needed, if needed. So the plan for now is to carry on as is because we aren't full on seats. And then if we get to the point that our current seating and computers are all taken up, we'll be able to add 2 pretty quickly, according to him. Just find a table, and he already has some, I believe, computers that we can use for that purpose. They will be required to pay, just like the other school districts are, because there is a school fund where they pay per seat. And so they'll be paying the price for 2 seats. And we just need that final signature so that it's official and they could send a student if needed in the future.
And I know that there was some discussion at the commissioners' meeting yesterday, and they are reaching out to DeKalb because the actual building itself sets in DeKalb County. That's why they're looking at us versus Steuben.
Yes, correct. So there was some question among the court and the prosecutor's office about, because some of the kids are probably residents of Steuben County. But since the actual act, whatever they would do that would have them expelled from school and sent to change will happen in DeKalb, Hamilton PD would file that with the DeKalb prosecutor and it would go through Judge Grimm's court. And so they would be able to attend Change Academy in that way, even if they live in Steuben.
How many people actually, what's the attendance in Change Academy on a regular basis? Is 1, 2, 10? I have no idea.
It's the beginning of school year, but there was an incident over the summer that sent several kids to us. I'm sure you saw it in the paper. So right now, I think we're either at 10 or 11, and I know there's a few pending. Our overall number would be 24 is the total that we can take at Change Academy. So last year, I think our high was 21, I believe is what the educational coordinator told me. At one point, they had 21 kids over there. So it sounds like a lot, but because of the staff we have available, the kids actually do get quite a bit of individual attention because there are 2 full-time staff and then 2 part-time staff that kind of work on a schedule where at least one, usually 2 of the part-time staff are there while the kids are there. So one comes in earlier and one stays later. And then once all the kids have left the building, those 2 part-time staff go home.
Just want to let everybody know, we have a partnership with them. They come over and use the Y every week, multiple times a week. And one of the things that I see there that I'm really excited about is there's some therapy group or guy that with one of the counseling centers or something that's doing some one-on-one in one of the rooms with some of the young people there.
Yeah.
It's great. There's a lot more than just them too.
Yeah, so a lot of the kids do see Lifeline counselors.
Yes,
That's probably what you're thinking of.
That guy's really, really good, by the way.
Yeah, and then the school districts also will sometimes send over like their special education teachers to work with certain students, particularly in the separate conference room. And then we are working on a couple new programs. Obviously, we bring in, I just forgot it, JA, Junior Achievement comes in, Macmillan Health comes in to talk about some different things. And this year, for this school year, we have trained one of our staff in a vaping program. So he'll work with all the kids on dangers of vaping and why they should try to quit. And then we also are going to start juvenile MRT, which is like it's a thinking program. It walks them through like, what's your life been so far? What do you want it to be and how do you get there? And it's really a neat program. We already do it for adults at the main building, but we're starting it again for juveniles, and all the change kids will go through that kind of in the middle of the school year because we wanted to make sure we could hit as many as possible. And obviously, usually the numbers go up as the school year goes on. So I think that's starting about November.
Are they there for the whole year when it gets sent there, or is it just part?
It totally depends on what they have done, each individual kid. So whether the school is expelling them for only 1 semester, 2 semesters, what the plan is. Over the summer, we did have one child come in for summer school. So he was there for most of June and trying to get some credits during the summer. So it just depends on each individual child.
Now, I see there's $112,000. Is that what they pay for a seat?
No, that's the total, and that total is divided among all the seats.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see that, and I thought, that's kind of expensive.
That would be expensive.
Involved with the Y, I can see why.
Two
I don't even think
things
they pay.
with, when the community corrections building was originally designed, there was space for the Change Academy to be there as part of that building. But the superintendents, and rightfully so, did ask that they not be located there, kind of separate those juveniles away from other offenders, and not being the appropriate spot for them. So Michelle the community corrections does have to rent space away from community corrections itself for the Change Academy, but I do believe that it works best. The other thing is, and I didn't think about this earlier, but if you are doing programs about stop vaping or stop smoking, that I would make sure that you, and you may already have, approached the health department, because a lot of the new health funding that's come from the state is available for the vaping program. So if that's a place that you might look for some additional funding.
Yeah, Mr. Watson just talked last week. So
Okay.
I'm definitely going to be getting in touch with them to see what we can kind of do to work together, some kind of partnership or something for that.
Great. All right. Do I have a motion? All right. I need a motion to have allow me to sign this MOU.
I'll make that motion.
Been moved by Councilman Kraft.
Eat them.
Second.
Now you guys are fighting. It's gonna be a long day.
Do we have a sense of humor?
Did he make it or not?
Yeah.
Okay. Second by Councilman Van Wy. Discussion, comment from the public, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same. That motion is carried. And
Michelle, you have a good team there, because I've been there 10 years and it's been going on for years and years. I can't remember even an incident or a problem we've had. I think you might have had a kid try to leave one time, like just go away, but they really do take good care of them when they're over.
Yeah, they like to come over to the Whites.
Just email me, please. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Michelle.
Real quick, it's not on the agenda because Randy isn't coming today.
Okay.
But there was an email that was, I believe, uploaded from Russ, and then late last night I got the airport brief. I did print it out, but it's also uploaded also, just for the information. And then he will be here at the end of the month to speak.
And this is the month that they're closed, correct? They were going to have, or was it August that the airport was closed due to the construction? I don't remember it being
I don't
one of the
remember.
previous reports.
They're
Does
supposed-
anybody remember from last month? Is it this month? Okay.
They're gonna be closed for like 6 weeks.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It looks like they're having a soft opening on the 19th with a ribbon cutting on the 29th.
All right. Any questions about the airport report, or if not, commissioner discussion is what's next on the list. Council commissioner discussion. I don't know, do you have anything specifically, Mike? All right, one thing I do want to mention is the fact that there was a presentation made at the Commissioners Court yesterday, reference some Wi-Fi ability of broadband. And of course, the state's push due to upload and download speeds has always been that it be fiber. And one of the reasons was the technology with Wi-Fi was poor as fact as obstacles in the way, trees, buildings, topography. And it's what little I know about it right at this moment is that some new technology is out there that may eliminate those issues. And if that's the case, it might be a very good way to go. And it leads back to something I brought up over a year ago, because Randolph County was looking at putting up towers, where the county would put up the tower and then rent space. We turned away from that because of the fact that the technology was not the best. You couldn't guarantee the upload and download speeds, which is most important. So if that technology exists, using funding that we have to put up towers might be a very beneficial thing to look at. The other thing is that a big part of whether it be this company or a different company or putting up towers, tax abatement is generally a big part of that. And I think that that's something that other counties are using in order to get the Wi-Fi or the broadband included. So that's something that's going to have to remain on the table. But if, that may not be necessary if the county uses their money to actually build the tower and then rent the space and possibly sell the tower. So there are a lot of details that need to be worked out, but the change being, the only change here being the fact that technology may be now available to get rid of the obstacles there.
As long as it's better, because I had a direct line of sight to the tower from 10 years ago when I had it, and storm clouds and everything else would make it go down. It was awful.
Well, anybody that, being the fiscally responsible person I am, when I retired, I cut out cable and everything else and went to over-the-air television, which is now all digital. And anybody that does that knows that any bad weather does affect that. So I would assume that this is the same. But the towers would actually help us in two ways, because getting the broadband, but also, there are a lot of bad spots in this county for cell service. And if you can rent space for cell service, that'd be great.
Well, and the other thing, like in our area, it's too bad REMC is coming through with optic cables on their poles. And I know it's not, will be down our line for another 2 years, but where they've gone up in Steuben County, it has worked really well, and the people have been really pleased about it. But they said it'd be 2 years when they get down to our line, so that's something that's coming too.
And I think that something's coming from Noble County over into Butler Township too, I believe. I think-
Yeah,
Hasn't
that's,
Wayne Funk talked to them about, is
Lake
that
Tell
Lake Tell?
and Noble County REMC. Excuse me, the REMC has some electric customers in that area that they serve, and so Lake Tell's working on, and that's all fiber there. The new Toronto fixed wireless technology is really pretty impressive, and everything I've seen so far. We talked to Metalink about this a couple months ago. And Lakeland, who came in yesterday, and that's Chuck Shurek's company, is using it pretty successfully right now. It gets close to fiber speeds, and basically it's fiber to the tower and then fixed wireless from the tower out. And I'm not sure how the magic works with the. But it's
Well, and
but
again,
the results are pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was always the issue, was what obstacles might be in the way. You know,
Yeah.
you didn't want anybody going in and clear cutting trees so that they could get a good signal. But if it
Yeah.
can get through that,
Yeah.
you know, and it can get those upload and download speeds, say more power to it.
Yeah.
I would say more importantly is we have a lot of clouds in this state, so the weather is as important as the line of sight, because
Yeah. Well,
Just
it's not.
make sure that the
it's
weather
not-
doesn't-
Yeah, it's not satellite.
Right.
It's not satellite. Satellites.
oh yeah, mine wasn't
Yeah.
satellite, it was
Okay.
an
Yeah.
antenna I put up on a 25-foot pole that shot right at the tower here in town. I could see it. And every time there was bad weather, I couldn't do anything on my computer. But I mean, that's 10 years ago. They've
Yeah.
surely fixed
Yeah.
that.
So I think it's a good conversation. Just from the preliminary numbers that Mark, excuse me, that Mark threw out yesterday, it makes some financial sense. I mean, they were throwing out, maybe $1.5 million investment from the county and towers, and $9 million investment from Lakeland, just to get things moving. And I mean, we're a long way from working out all those details or having a proposal in front of us, but I don't care particularly how we get broadband deployed to the county. I just want to make sure that we have reliable, high-speed internet service available to as many addresses as we can. And just kind of update you on the broadband task force and so forth. The Indiana Connectivity Program is in place now, which provides specific addresses that are unserved or underserved, and lets providers bid for providing service to those addresses, and that's subsidized by state funding. And AES is currently working on a lot of those addresses too, as well as Metalink and LigTel. So there's really quite a bit of broadband activity in the county.
Again, and it's actually it's the area that Amy lives in. Probably going to be the least served.
Yeah.
You got Steuben coming down, you got Allen County coming up, you've got Noble County coming over, you got Auburn Essential Services working in the middle. And unless somebody's going to go over and convince Ohio to come over to the east side of the county,
Well, and that's exactly what's going on. Metalink, who's then over in Defiance, And I haven't talked to them in a few weeks. I don't know where they're at, but they're going to put a tower up just west of Spencerville. And they'll use that Toronto
That's the one
technology.
that Reinhardt's
That Reinhardt's,
putting on
yeah.
Reinhardt's property?
Yeah, so that ought to make a huge difference. For
Are they
them.
using this new technology?
Yeah, they're using Toronto on their fixed wireless. They do fiber as well, but they also use the
The good thing if wireless will work is you're going to reach a whole lot of homes really fast compared to trying to get fiber. It's going
Well,
to take many, many years
yeah.
to get fiber to all the homes. You could have
Yeah.
wireless to all the homes in a couple of years,
yeah.
if it works.
Well,
It would be
we'll
fast.
see. Yeah.
All right, anything else with the commissioners? All right. We're going to jump a minute here. We're going to talk about the wheel tax. Again, whatever we would consider or whatever we would do could not take effect until January 1st, 2025. The commissioners have made comment that, as we have asked for some direction and some help with how much money, how much funding do you need to accomplish certain goals by, within each year. Again, our financial report shows our being underwater in the highway department in 2025. If we were to implement a wheel tax in 2025, the money would not be immediately available because we would not have gotten the money in ahead of time. A comment made by one of the commissioners at their meeting was, go to the maximum, we'll spend whatever you give us. I don't think that that's appropriate.
That sounds like my ex-wife.
I think what we need, some basic, it doesn't have to be elaborate. I would like to see a plan like LaGrange County has done, where they have a 10-year plan with goals and what they want to accomplish. They don't want to do that. So what we're looking for is, how much money do you want to spend every year to bring roads that are less than level 5 rated? How much money do you need each year to bring roads up to that level 5? And in addition, how many gravel roads do you want to pave in a particular year? And in doing so, they're going to have, I would think that they would need to come up with the criteria. It was pointed out during the meeting, I was being much too simplistic in saying that having just by the number of houses. I think that's a much too simplistic, as did the engineer. Also thought that there are other factors like where's the beginning and destination, or the beginning and ending of the road. Is that road used to access major highways or major other roads? So other factors are going to have to be determined, and that's for the commissioners and the highway department to come up with that criteria, not us. We just need their direction as to how much do you need. So that being number one. The second thing I would like to do is, I had a number of comments after our last meeting on the wheel tax about setting up a committee, not only of council people, and it would have to be something less, 3 or less, and a commissioner, because it has to be less than a quorum of the commissioners, and a number of people from the public to come up with that dollar amount. We are going to have to, if the commissioners are not going to give us direction on how much they believe they need, we're going to have to try to determine at what level of service, at what level of availability, I'm looking for a good word. What kind of roads do you want in DeKalb County? You know, we can turn them all into gravel and save a lot of money. We can pave them all and spend a lot of money. But what level do the citizens of DeKalb County want? What is their desire? What do they need? And if the commissioners are not going to give us that information, then we're going to have to determine that. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to appoint that committee. Tell me if you want to be on it. Bob, I think you should be on it. I don't want you to chair it. You've already got other things to do, but you are the liaison to the highway department. So I would like you to be on it, and then at least one other person to be on it.
I think,
I want to be on it because I'm
All
on
right.
the farmer side.
Okay, so,
I think the other thing that we can do in that committee is get some input from the public and have those rates already set for all the vehicles and come with a proposal, or maybe two proposals, and say,
that would be
that way we aren't going through hashing it out, trying to figure it out.
you know, that was
each
the
car.
issue before. I thought that everybody would appreciate the fact that we were going to do it in a meeting,
Yeah.
and have open discussion. But what I would like, we have the ordinance. Don has already written the ordinance. The only thing we need to do is plug the numbers in. So that would be the end result of this committee, is plug those numbers in, those different fees, and bring it back to the council. It would have the fees in it, the amount of money that would be generated, and then the council, full council, is gonna vote it up or down, or amend it. It would all be part of a discussion right here. But the almost finished product would be brought to us from that group. So that's where I'd like to go, and we have time to work on this. I mean, it's not something that needs to be done next month. It needs to be done before September 1, 2024.
I think
So we
need to
got
shoot
plenty
that.
of time to work on it.
We need to work on it hard the first of the year to get way ahead of the game, so we're not just, so give us 3 or 4 months before that deadline to be voting on it,
Yeah, exactly.
in case it needs tweaked or changed or more discussion.
Okay. And, you know, as we do our work session this afternoon and tomorrow on the highway department, we can, you know, some of this will be discussed there, I'm sure. But, you know, we're probably good for 2024 with the highway department. It's looking at that next year that's going to be the real problem. All right, moving on from there. I have here, you know, one of the things that we've been, commissioners have been doing, and I think we've done this in the past with some of our members, is recognizing those of us or those people that have been associated with the council and given service to the council over the past 5, 10, 15 years. And it just so happens that our council attorney has been with us for 15 years.
I haven't been with you because you haven't been here.
Not with me, but with the council. So I do want to take this time to recognize the fact that Don Stuckey has been with us as our council attorney for the past 15 years, and how much we appreciate the work that he does.
I get paid, and that's good enough.
That, well, and we're happy to pay you too, Todd, for the work that you do.
Yes.
Because we want it to be good work. All right, so anyway, thank you very much, we appreciate that. All right. So that brings us to
The
the
end.
end of our regular meeting. We are due back here at 10:30. We're going to recess, come back at 10:30 for,
We're adjourning this one.
we are adjourning this one and not, well,
We're
we don't
adjourning
have
your
any,
regular
we don't have
meeting.
anything to do afterwards.
Amy and Amy, it's
until
your
the
turn.
work session.
You're adjourning this one and we'll reopen for
All
public
right,
hearing.
we are adjourning this meeting and going to come back for the public hearing on the 2024 budget. So with that being, and that's at 10:30, so we need to be back in here at 10:30. And we got a couple of guys in the back of the room kind of looking at each other like, wait a minute. Did you have something you wanted to bring to the council, or? No. Okay. Okay, very good. All right, so if I can have a motion to adjourn the September 12th, 2023 meeting. Okay. Been moved that we adjourn. Is there a second? And a